Well, this one was all good until it wasn't. The fellas jumping out to a commanding 4-0 lead, and then the wheels completely came off. This is Cubs Postgame Live, presented by Yuengling Flight, the next generation of light beer. Jacob Webb has been locked down all season long, but right here, Ryan Waldschmidt letting him know why a lot of people are getting familiar with his name. He walked off the Dodgers just a few days ago, and today, once again, we tell you, he put the nail in the Cubs' coffin. And Game 2 of this series goes in favor of the home team, and that tomorrow is setting up a rubber match before the fellas lock horns with Cincinnati. 5-4, the final tally in this one, and the late goings where things really went awry. Cole Wright, Elise Menaker, Lance Brozdowski here at your service on Cubs Postgame Live, presented by Yuengling Flight, the next generation of light beer. In the ninth inning, that was the real unraveling. We saw things go awry first time with Daniel Palencia, but Jacob Webb hasn't been himself lately.
Yeah, I mean, it's disappointing for a couple of reasons. One, because Daniel Palencia looked really good the first time we saw him, and then this is just someone who you're trying to get more innings. Lance and I were talking about it when he was out there, that it felt like a pretty good situation to put him in. A softer but not too soft of a landing as you're trying to get him in the groove of pitching in higher leverage spots. So he had a 4-run cushion and just the command. I mean, the pitch to Jordan Lawler, that was a scary one. And this was something that at times he had faced in his rehab outings, but over the last few, it got him better. This was just some tough luck, hits the bag, ricochets, and then now they're just starting to, find some grass, just finding the right spots. Keep trying to make the play at home, can't come up with the throw. And so that would be at 22 pitches for Daniel Palencia. This is at the point where it's a 4-3 game, so you can't really mess around at that point, still trying to hang on to the lead. And then as you highlighted, Jacob Webb now, he's had 2 appearances where he's given up 5 runs, pitched 1 2/3, which is disappointing because he has been so locked down. You almost expect it now from him on repeat, and now these last couple of times, can't come through.
Yeah, watching a closer or a pseudo closer in a situation with a 4-run cushion, that's like watching a lion in the zoo. Not necessarily the same as they would be in the wild. They're not able to really create some of that closer juice. And when we see Daniel Palencia, 4 runs, that's not himself.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I agree with Elise in saying that feels like the bridge spot of you're not bringing him into a game they're leading by 7 where the inning means nothing.
Okay.
He has to keep that tight. You have to keep that from being a one-swing game if the D-backs were able to get runners on. His command was really shaky, but, both of the base hits we showed are that ball barely went fair. It somehow spun back, and then I think the Perdomo one was like an inside out. It's not like he got hit bad. The Diamondbacks have done this all year, and I think that is their one superpower. I generally would say that stuff regresses to the mean, and the team doesn't continue to be insane in these walk-off fashions, but they've won a ton of these tight games, and they did so again tonight, and this is a tough one to stomach as a Cubs fan.
Yeah, Jacob Webb, at least alluded to it, 5 runs in his last 2 appearances and a pair of walk-off home runs. And everyone was saying Daniel Palencia is back. Maybe he should just slide right back in to that closer role, and it maybe would not have been a topic of conversation if Jacob Webb had the outing he had last time. And then you compound that with what went wrong tonight, then that is certainly a precarious situation, at least, because right now Jacob Webb is good as he was before with all the scoreless innings and outings. You're only as good as your last time out. 2 walk-off home runs.
Well, even as you're talking, Cole, you had a walk in there and you had a hard hit. So it wasn't exactly like he was breezing through this. And then they have the stolen base. And this is an area where I'm starting to see, and on the spot, I'm thinking challenge that. So on the one call, you're challenging the play at second, but Amaya to tap his helmet, because as Lance was highlighting, it completely changes the count. Now, it's not easy in the moment. I don't blame Miguel Amaya for not challenging. It's more so that I'm seeing it sometimes throughout the game where when the catcher is making a play on the base paths, that oftentimes that pitch can be close, but the ump isn't calling it because they're watching now more the play that's unfolding as opposed to, what the pitch, they're assuming almost that it's more off the plate than it is because they're making a play on that pitch. So just something that I'm now keeping an eye on, and, it does flip a count, and I think more so the fact that guys are getting on base, there's walk-ins in key situations that can really come back to bite you like they did. And so just unfortunate that he's getting hit hard, and Waldschmidt again comes up with a big hit.
Yeah, and it just lends credence to how important some of those late game challenges are. You go out there, you make that challenge, you put everything in a completely different situation, and Waldschmidt, maybe he doesn't take those aggressive hacks.
Yeah, I know. The pitch to me is the 1-1. I think some of the challenges matter, but this is we're talking Christopher Antonacci does a great job on the stat side. This is the pitch, right? 1-1 count
Well, it's a
matters
good point, too,
ton.
yeah.
This
It's not
is the ball
competitive.
inside. So hitters after 1-2 counts select 264. After 2-1 counts, they select 396. It's a 130-point swing. If you're looking for like the moment in the game, like all the other stuff, maybe not totally in Palencia's control on some of the sawed-off single and the other single and stuff. Webb on the challenge, like it's tough, but the thing Webb can control in that spot is getting Waldschmidt to 1-2. He couldn't do that. Next pitch is a home run. That's the game. So there's a lot of ways you can nitpick this one apart. The Cubs dominated this game for 8.5 innings and 7.5 innings or so, and it's a tough loss. But 1-1 counts are really important in baseball, and Webb lost that to Waldschmidt.
Elise, does it make it any easier that the Milwaukee Brewers, they lost tonight as well?
No, I think that's what makes it tougher because this was
you
an
could have
opportunity
made up
to make
some
up some
little
ground.
ground,
Yeah,
yeah.
honestly, that's kind of, when you know because you're playing late a result from earlier. I mean, I don't know if they knew, but we're sitting here knowing this becomes an opportunity where you can really try to start gaining some ground. So especially when you have the lead going into the 8th and 9th, technically you have the lead. It's just less of a lead. And yeah, they got the big hit, a big swing from Happ to put a few on the board. They tack on one later, and you'd like to think in a game like this, scoring 4, that's enough, but it's just not.
Now 60-2 with a lead after 8 because tonight it goes in the L column and they're still 5.5 games back on Milwaukee, so a 0 movement made up today. 81-51, that's where Milwaukee's at. The Cubs 76-57. Tomorrow is going to hold a whole bunch of weight, of course, with Cincinnati before they cross paths with those Milwaukee Brewers. A 5-4 defeat